Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Wuhan, China for this epic clash between South Korea's SK Telecom T1 and China's Edward Gaming. SKT have already secured #1 in the group. They already know their fates. However, they've got to put on a good show here. Edward Gaming, this is a must-win. If they lose, they are out. Their road is done. If they win, though, they are 3-0 on the day, and they will tie-break Cloud9 for the last spot out of the group, pull a Fnatic, win 4 straight, make the top 8.
And knock out NA again.
Of course, much like Fnatic.
And Misfits.
In order to go into this game, though, we have to remember what happened last time in the matchup of these two teams. Yes, things have changed, but it's still relevant, right? EDG came out of the gates firing on all cylinders, huge lead. They had all 3 dragons. They had this giant gold lead, and yet Scout later in the game, made some mistakes, but also SKT, really good engagements. Wolf was on the center stage, as was Huni, and they absolutely made a huge comeback.
We had like the best engage in the mid lane we have seen in a long time, where it was of course Wolf engaging, then Shockwaves and a Twitch opening up, and everyone died from EDG's side. Now today, I really like the changes EDG have made in how they're trying to play the early game. It's no longer just camp for Scout 24/7. They're actually trying to set iBoy up for success down in that bot lane.
iBoy has been absolutely massive so far today. You get that damage share, about 46%. Also, in their win over AHQ, he was the first bot laner to have over 50% damage share in a game. This guy has been absolutely massive. Even in the 0-3 week, in week 1, he was still very good there, but now he's truly carrying.
Exactly. They need him in the late game team fights to be fed and strong because, as you highlighted as well, Kobe, like Scout is inconsistent, and especially in the late game, he's been an issue. So clearly you can't rely purely on him to beat a team like SKT. You need iBoy to play well.
And as big as the changes that EDG has made from week 1 to week 2 are, and as good as they are, SKT have also made changes here. They're going to keep Blank in today, and I think that as much as I love Peanut, and I adore Peanut, Blank honestly is the better choice for this matchup.
Yes.
I think this is going to be a huge boon for SKT as well.
Yeah, it absolutely is. He's, again, a player who's known to do his research right there, just now getting back into his seat, and they're going to be ready to go in Champs Select in just a moment. Now, we've seen, again, I bring it up because I think it's very interesting. When a team has already decided their fate, how hard do they play? And so far at Worlds, the gamesmanship is such that they understand how important these games are. These teams still put on their very best performance. I mean, Flash Wolves were guaranteed 4th place yesterday, and they still put on a hell of a fight, and they got their only win, which of course did succumb TSM to having to play the tiebreak, and it torpedoed their chances. But these teams have always put on a strong performance, even if their individual result doesn't matter to them.
And why not use this extra game on stage as more practice for SKT? Because it's not been a perfect run during this group stage. There have been ups and downs. There have been issues in the games. And this is a good chance to kind of go in and show, okay, have we maybe fixed some of these issues? We get another game to VOD review as well going into quarterfinal. That is important for even a team like SKT.
And you know Edward Gaming are trying their hardest, and look at that, the first ban, Caitlyn, the metagame evolving here at Worlds 2017. Of course, it just means you can go back to playing your Twitch and Conquest game, but it is, again, one of the champions that has risen to prominence from some of the innovation these teams have done. We'll see more of it throughout Worlds. I don't know if EDG has anything more up their sleeves for this. We'll see what happens.
And what is the spot that Caitlyn opens up in the other must-bans that we've seen? Galio has been very big as well, and I actually really like Scout on that champion for a lot of the reasons that were mentioned. He's one who likes to always play forward and make big plays, attempting to dive into the team. So good ban there from SKT.
Now we get that same situation with the Janna Lulu up, and teams got to decide, do they want to take the preferred one of the 2 supports? Do they want to grab a Sejuani maybe instead and just trade anyway? Xayah coming in means the Xayah Rakan is no longer on the table.
Which I am surprised a little bit that Edward Gaming bans the Xayah, because if they grab the Sedge, you get Xayah Rakan as your first round, so you'd force a pick out of them, but not the case here, obviously.
Yeah, most teams will grab Xayah themselves and then say, you get, let's say, Janna and Sejuani, we get Lulu Gragas, and then it's okay if, of course, Xayah Rakan would also be a possibility. So you force the other guys to pick the Rakan without the Xayah. So most teams don't want to take that trade, and same in this game.
Also of note, Lulu priority back over Janna here. I've seen the internet comments. Janna's win rate has been pretty high at Worlds so far. She's lost a lot more games today, actually. Tanked her win rate a bit, but Lulu the priority means Janna goes over to SKT.
So I can get behind the Lulu pick if you're planning on playing with your AD carry forward. If your AD carry is going to be very aggressive, you're going to play around this bottom lane, try and get iBoy fed. A Lulu is one that can enable that AD carry that has a slight lead to really take take over the game. It's because of the concentrated power on that AD carry and the speed up that you give them.
Now, while Caitlyn is banned away, I still think Varus can do a lot in the early laning phase, especially with the Lulu. And the fact that EDG do not pick the AD carry, but instead take the Gragas, match the junglers, and say, I want to see what you're playing first, does give a chance for the Varus. They could also just go for the more standard choices, but I still think if you want to try and dominate lane, that is a good choice.
We'll see what they go for. Tristana, I think, is the most likely pickup here if you're playing the metagame. Although, because of the Lulu pick, you'd expect more lane priority via an Ashe or Varus, but again, Tristana is what most of these teams are picking up right now, and that will be the lock-in. They let SKT grab Twitch themselves, so SKT got the one they preferred, it seems like. Triss is going to be the match.
Yeah, and we have seen this quite a lot where there is the Twitch on one side with the Janna to protect him, against the Tristana actually fighting on the other side. And in late game team fights, Tristana only hitting one target. That's a big tank right in front of her, and it takes her quite some time to burn through them. The Twitch, who is basically protected by this insane disengage from his support, opens up and takes down 2 to 3 members at the same time. So already from this draft, I'm giving the late game over to SKT.
And I really would like another tank from SKT. I really enjoy double melees, 2 front lines. If you do have this Sejuani who works so well with the likes of Cho'Gath, like you're talking about, who can control a large area, and you really threaten, even in the early game, the passive gives you a lot of extra power too.
I mean, the Maokai is another choice. One of them will be open. EDG did not ban away a Trundle or a Nars, so they might not necessarily just want to instantly blind pick Cho'Gath because of some of the counters. I still think it's okay to do if you actually feel confident that you can handle whatever counter pick is coming from the enemy team. SKT not even taking a chance, just get rid of the Cho'Gath.
Well, solo lanes left to be picked up. Edward Gaming blind picks one, counter picks the other. SKT, of course, in the same boat here. Maokai the hover. Edward Gaming gonna leave last pick to scout in the mid lane.
Are SKT gonna give Huni an advantageous matchup again? Have him bully on the side? Is there gonna be something like a Trundle coming through? Or are they gonna play the double tank, you know, just frontline like there? Because Trundle, he's not just a split pusher, right? If you have a tank on the other side, he can team fight. Use the pillar to navigate those team fights and use your ultimate to shred through the Maokai. They do it. I actually really like that, especially for Huni.
So blind pick mid here for Faker, LeBlanc, Syndra are 2 fine choices from Orianna. Is an old school he always likes to go back to when he needs to blind pick as well. I think there's enough choices. It's very rare right now, I feel in mid lane you get completely counter picked and you just can't lane. Most of these champions will at least be 50-50.
Yeah, well, Orianna gonna be the hover, and there's the lock-in. SKT gonna bring that one in for the last game of the group stage. And it's now time for Scout to answer this one in the do or die match. Win and you tie-break Cloud9, you play another one, lose and you are done for. Hovering right now on LeBlanc, we'll see if it comes through.
Yeah, I would like LeBlanc here. I think you can put a lot of pressure on the Orianna in the mid lane, and especially combine that with your jungler to try and get the advantage, and then use that then with a teleport to snowball the bot side.
Especially combine that with the fact that it's being played by Scout. This was one of his huge champions. Everyone was talking about the Lucian, but he had such a very big performance to get EDG the first seed. Representing China here on LeBlanc, very big carry for him, and this is the type of player and the type of champion you want that player on.
Very few split champions have succeeded here at Worlds 2017. Longzhu, the only one who's made it up so far. The rest have been exited by weak group stage performances, or even in the play-ins if you count the rest of them right here. Edward Gaming, the last one remaining to see if they can do it here. 2-3 their record. They've had a killer week, of course, a slow start in week 1, but the crowd now rallying behind them.
And I like the control they can have around the mid lane here with Gragas, with LeBlanc as well. Faker's currently sitting on Cleanse to try and defend himself, making him a little bit weaker in the pure 1v1. This should be a good game for Scout, because last time these guys played each other, EDG camped the mid lane. Lucian, Rek'Sai was the combo. They destroyed Faker early on, put him really far behind. Funny enough, on the Orianna. Let's see if they can do it again.
It's not quite Lucian. Rek'Sai, we'll see what comes through though. The lineup's on your screen. SK Telecom T1, reigning world champions. First place in the group for sure. Edward Gaming from China, their opponents. There's the lineup on your screen. They've got to win this one to stay alive. Here we are, ladies and gentlemen, the last regularly scheduled group stage game of Worlds 2017. Edward Gaming hoping to add bonus time by winning and heading to a tiebreaker. SK Telecom T1, not really a horse in the fight other than playing fair and making EDG earn it. SKT 4-1 have already secured #1 out of the group. Huni got to be spotted out by Mouse.
Oh, the bait.
It's actually Mouse doing the scouting this time around, though.
Goes for the root flash chain, gonna be flash answered by Huni. That was a nice little cheeky attempt. Flash for flash. Could mean a lot for Trundle if the gank comes back in.
Also, we get Mouse starting W, Scout starting with the chains, and no flash in that mid lane. Obviously, no cleanse from him because he's running with the teleport.
It's an interesting trade because the two lanes that you're looking at for each team are, top lane for SKT, but also the LeBlanc lane versus Faker. You mentioned the amount of pressure. Having flash on LeBlanc really does put extra pressure on that Orianna matchup because you can threaten if your jungler is ever anywhere near.
Flash
you
chain.
pretty much guarantee, flash chaining in a large combo. So this kind of takes away a little bit of the advantage for SKT for EDG in the mid lane, but also SKT on top side.
It's also rare. It's actually worth it to invest a lot of summoners to get a first blood this early on in the game. Like Huni would be back for the minions anyway, and yeah, you get a bit of gold over on your side, but it does now affect you for the following minutes.
Ooh, I think something that we just saw on top side was Huni pulling the wave a little bit to try and focus them onto one minion, but he didn't quite get it and didn't get to deny any experience from Mouse. We'll be able to deny a little bit of the last hits there. One of them going down.
No, it's actually going to get to go. Oh yeah, sorry, there I missed it. Yep, 1 CS denied. There's the trade. Grasp the Undying. Huni winning so far in the one-on-one, and again playing a style that suits him. He loves being the aggressor, the carry force in the team.
One thing you mentioned in the pick and ban phase, Kobe, was having a melee champion with the Sejuani. It obviously is a great combination, especially early on for ganks. So easy to go top lane and apply the stun and the extra burst damage onto this Maokai. Only really possible though early if Maokai is actually pushing the lane. Otherwise, get level 6 on Trundle, and you can just tower dive him. You actually have the damage and the CC to do it with this Trundle Sejuani.
So that comes through feature into this lineup. Huni halfway back on his flash pool, and of course Brent at very start of the game, he'll have it back around 5 minutes here as he keeps trying to push Mouse around, still on that 1 CS on Maokai. Still on 1 actually.
Oh, you missed it.
He at least was running Bandit, so he gets one gold per miss.
As much as we are focused on this top lane and how fun it is to watch Trundle into Maokai, I want to call attention to the fact that Blank is concentrating a lot of his vision efforts around Faker. And this is something that we often see with him. He got both Scuttle Crabs plus wards around Faker in the mid lane. That coupled with the fact that the LeBlanc blew her flash early, Faker on Orianna, he is not scared of the matchup right now at all. He's pushing in Scout and doing just fine.
It's just a good adaptation because this didn't happen last week. There was actually almost no wards around mid from SKT's side, allowing Clearlove to get early ganks off. Not this time around though. Orianna just wants to scale, just want to do anything in the early game if she can avoid it.
Waiting for the team fights. We'll see as that comes farther and farther in the future. Of course, SKT have been so good at playing a spread out map, and again, putting on a champion that can do that. A sneak into the brush for Clearlove. No good to be had. Bang still going to stealth in, but don't expect a crazy fight. Clearlove will eventually finish his recall. There shouldn't be much of a skirmish here.
We see why the Lulu priority came in from EDG. They could have gone to Janna. They went for the Lulu instead to try and have a stronger early laning phase. And they're using it at the moment to get a small lead over SKT in the bottom lane and get a bit of damage on tower. And that's always the key thing. It's not a Caitlyn, but it kind of serves the same purpose here with the Tristana. Take down this bot lane tower.
You definitely expect lane priority here. It's pushing forward so far, down to 2/3 HP. Also, I gotta say, smart itemization. Cole versus Doran's Shield is pretty much a hard win for Cole. It's what I consider a soft counter, but you're never going to lose lane, and you're going to get 450 gold richer for it, so your power spike comes in faster.
Especially if you got that Lulu on your side, helping you out. Blank goes in here for the counter jungle on Krugs, whereas Clearlove setting up yet another counter gank. He's waiting for the moment for Blank to go first. And now he's got a good position here. Actually, it's going to happen.
Big damage in from Huni. He's got no flash, though. No way out. First blood cleanly secured for Clearlove in front of his hometown.
Yeah, Huni goes in there pretty early because Blank is coming for this gank. But Clearlove, the second counter gank he sets up. First was on bottom side, in action down there. He sets it up on top side. They find the kill onto Huni.
Yeah, and even better for EDG. They know the junglers were top side, so they get free time in the bottom lane. There's so much damage on this tower in the early game with the Tristana Lulu, showing why it's so effective. And Bang now taking more damage.
Got a 300 HP as well. The Tornado not meaning much, but Mako has to take a couple of steps back. He's got to wait around a little bit. Bang actually went for a safer keystone as well with the Warlords, but this turret still close to falling.
Another thing to note here is Mouse is walking back to lane. He's saving teleport in case something happens in the bottom lane.
Wolf stays alive, but didn't shield the turret. He shielded himself instead. I'm pretty sure he had the option of choosing which one he wanted. Turret's dead really soon. Clear Love coming down.
He wants to secure the turret now.
The cheers here for Clear Love in Wuhan. Big play for him to start it out. Can he finish this game and keep EDG's hopes alive? Bottom lane is the focus now. Turret's extremely low, but both teams have this objective in their eyes.
Damage on a Mako. Here comes Clear Love, though. Will he go for the body slam flash to kill off? Bang is going to find the body slam easily and send the flash away. Mako staying alive. The turret still goes down, though. That's enough of an objective as a 1,400 gold lead for Edward Gaming. Feels great.
It's a tower at 6 minutes. We've seen the Caitlyn lanes get around 8 to 10 minutes. This is so early on in the game. Bang and Wolf pushed under that tower 24/7. Down a lot of CS. Early gold lead for EDG.
iBoy and Mako coming up huge here for EDG in a must-win moment. Meanwhile, on the top side, even though they did get the kill onto Huni, he still has the big CS lead. Mouse trying to make up some of it here under the turret.
Huni wants to get some damage on the Maokai first if he wants to set up any sort of kill pressure with Blank. For now, Mouse is just staying safe. Early armor as well. Nice frame. And as I said before, save that TP. So he can either use it back to lane if needed or go to the other side of the map.
See, that does come through right now. Of course, Huni with flash up shouldn't be too easy to gank, but iBoy and Co coming around. Of course, that ward spots him. Shouldn't be a surprise at all to SK Telecom T1. Normally great with the coordination. Huni going to have to back up, though. Of course, Trundle not good wave clear. We'll have to forsake some of this. Here comes Triss. Good damage on a Huni. He'll stay alive through it, but half HP for him.
They're just so far behind on the play. Down in the bottom lane, Bang and Wolf have just pushed towards their own river at this point. EDG already at the tower.
Exactly. There were a couple of things here. Mouse went for a trade before he left, getting Huni a little bit low. Then iBoy goes aggressive there to chunk him out. So they have full alone time here on the turret. And Huni is scared to walk up to that minion wave. They're getting a lot of damage done. They have a very big lead in the tower pushing game.
But that damage is in. And of course, the mid lane, we almost saw a gank come through, but nothing happened there. Turret gonna fall, looks like on this wave. So 2-0 on turrets. Edward Gaming, 2,000 gold up.
Yeah, the level 6 Maokai in the bot lane is fairly tanky, so he's gonna try and defend the tower as well. SKT, they realize they're not gonna be able to rush it down, so they try and get something. It's a Drake, but your tier 2 tower in the top lane is gonna take some damage now.
They've rotated Faker over to try and help with the wave clear here, but Huni's getting though.
Careful, Huni, 1 versus 3. Watchin's gonna land the burst damage coming across the shield from Faker's Oriana, just enough, plus the King's Tribute keep him alive. Incredible Break goes down, but this turret could be attacked soon.
We really have preferred EDG to just focus on the tower. It's not about kills in this game here, it's about getting structures down. So there's barely any map for SKT to try and defend once we go later into this mid game.
Just continuing 2,500. Faker now is given wave clear duties, the only AoE champion on the squad right now. Trundle will be sent to the bot lane.
Bang without a flash, so he can't really sit 1v1 against this LeBlanc here.
Blank going for a bit of an invade here is the level 6 Sejuani. Even though Mouse is fairly deep extended here on the bottom side, you mentioned how tanky he is already. And the fact that Blank was half health when he went into the jungle means things go down on him. He's on vision.
Oh, they're going to find him with the root. Here's the rest of the squad. Blank sure to fall, and Scout finds himself the kill.
So much for those double busts. Now it is a LeBlanc with an early game kill, double bust, and EDG are off to the races.
I mean, this is the perfect early game for EDG. Free bot lane tower, swap top lane, instantly get another turret. You're getting kills now even on your mid laner, who's not even part of this early game plan. They have not been playing around Scout in this game. It's been all about iBoy and Mako winning 2v2.
Right now, this is a solid game at Edward Gaming. Of course, it's looked like this before with early pressure. And the previous one was all about camping the mid lane, camp Faker, but this was a lane victory so far for Edward Gaming with a couple of good ganks out of Clear Love. Now mid lane, going to take some damage. Firefighter Tristana looking to knock down some buildings.
The situation is just so incredibly good for EDG. They do get the
stun. Good rock jump away. Yeah, he's safe.
Remember in Champion Select when we highlighted the differences of Lulu and Jenna, how Lulu could really enable the AD carry that is ahead. Well, guess what? iBoy is absolutely crushing this, and his Cole has not even popped. This is a Tristana that gets to move forward with the Lulu speed. A Tristana that's about to wear down a secondary turret here, and no Sejuani ult to worry about anymore.
One of the big things we liked about the LeBlanc as well against the Orianna is you can split push with teleport. Scout has been sitting in the top lane, now he's joining the mid lane as well to try and take down the turret. Gotta wait for the next minion wave, but once again, it's a lot of damage every single time.
EDG just keeps pushing over. Faker is not the wave clear, not to be had for SK Telecom T1. Wolfpops yielded to heal up, but this will be the third straight turret kill for Edward Gaming.
We're 11 minutes into the game, and all 3 outer turrets, they're dead.
This is an insane snowball. Plus, Righteous Glory is already done on Mouse, so the Maokai can't actually force fights. This EDG comp has a front line to run behind. Like, they have so many options right now. You thought it was bad in the last game where it looked one-sided with the early game snowball. This is even bigger.
There we go, 101 CS for Tristana. Cole popped. He's got the big chunk of money right here. Look at the next play, right into the mid lane. Good damage out of Scout, half HP on the bang. They're going to continue on the flash forward. To the summoner heal, the barrier, keep them alive for now. The jump in for Trist, the explosive cast, and the explosion is there. Scout finds his second kill. EDG get another.
Kill the AD carry, get more damage on the tower here. Great play from EDG. They're looking so good today, so coordinated as well in their plays.
I don't know if anyone can stop this squad right now. Looking at 3 straight wins, and they can make it a 4th when they can tie-break Cloud9 should they close this game out. Watch that fight again.
Set up from Fog of War. Scout goes in, lands the chain.
Yeah, there's actually flash ready on Bang, but he doesn't get to flash before the first chains pop. And that means he's stuck in place at least for a moment, allowing another chain to connect and a bit of extra damage. Just gotta flash that instantly so you actually stay alive.
Scout just keeping the pressure going, right? The 1-3-1, they've got the double teleports. Most of this audience might be cheering for Edward Gaming, but those boys in your bottom left corner right there, they are hoping SKT pulls the comeback. Edward Gaming look nigh unstoppable based on today's games and today's form. China may have their 3rd team in the top 8.
And we have to remember the last time EDG got this lead against SKT. There was an Erakan on the side of SKT to force the fight, to start the big engage. It's a Janna this time. It's on Blank to find the engage, and then on Faker and Bang without extra setup to actually open up in the late game. It's going to be much harder than last time.
Definitely going to be more difficult this time around, and Blank not with a very good early start to the game either. We'll see if he can pull it out, if he actually has the confidence. Again though, even Sejuani, the ultimate now, since it's a single target, is not as reliable. You have to work that through a Maokai and a Gragas front line. It's just so difficult. There are very few options, and this would be a truly incredible comeback from SKT. Even though the gold lead isn't as big yet, the champion compositions taken into account really determine the story.
It's also been much harder for Huni to actually do anything on this Trundle because the towers are just falling around him so fast. There's no lanes he can actually push in. The last game where he played the Jace, his entire job was perma push the side lane, get all the resources. Let's see bot lane.
Whoa, that was a big miss on a Blank right there. Try again in a few minutes, but EDG have yet to be stopped at all.
And that's literally it. Unless they walk onto Faker's ball and they all party around it and let themselves be Shockwave, it's going to have to be a very big mistake from EDG to let them back into this game.
And surely we're also going to get either QSS or Mikhail's coming in on the side of EDG against this single target engage from Blank.
All right, we'll see if they can keep this one going. Inferno Drake going to be spawning up in a few seconds. And we're gaming. Did give the first over to SKT as they push top lane outer as a result. Maybe a worthy trade for Epic Gaming. SKT not going to probably have a chance at taking this one away, so the neutral objective will keep stacking for the Chinese split winner.
This is a rare time where we really get to examine SKT when they don't have much hope, right? And they are under so much pressure. The defensive vision is the first step that we see common in a lot of their games. You know, they do get behind often, but again, the compositions coming into this one make it more difficult for them to pull out those plays. Still though, the resilience with the control wards within their own jungle, trying to at least give them some areas to work with.
I think now if EDG can actually push out top lane, they can secure Rift Herald. So I would like to see Mouse and Scout just swap around the map, so you have your winning split push at the LeBlanc on this lane near the Rift Herald, push out the lane, and then just start the objective. SKT should not be able to contest it, and then you can use that to get another turret.
Exactly, and there's another 5 minutes until Baron. You want to use that time with the Rift Herald to take down some of these secondary turrets. If you can really open up the rest of the map there, then you just keep up this vision. The defensive vision I talked about for SKT, if you're able to crack these secondary turrets, then EDG just get to clean that all out. And once Baron does arrive at the 20-minute mark, that's when you get to bait.
We get that swap around now. Scout going towards the top side. SKT are just investing everyone on the bottom side, knowing they can't contest very easily. And EDG, again, push the tempo, get enemy jungle camps, get the Rift Herald. See if you can get another tower before Baron even spawns.
Well, there might be something else picked up before Baron spawns as Huni's in a bad spot. Body slam flash gonna land, pops to the ultimate, but knocked right back in. Clear level perfect accuracy here, and the rest of the team joining it as well. Huni is going to drop, but he's not gonna find the trade kill. Got a bit close, but iBoy getting his first kill of the game.
Yeah, not going down easy here. Clearlove staying in melee range of the Trundle, allowing him to get a lot of health back. Let's see here, Blank.
SKT looking for the comeback fight, looking for iBoy, but he's so durable. Knocks back Bang, gets most of the way out of range, but Faker wants in. Nice flash gets away from a potential shockwave. A couple of summoners down. That's a sign of something out of SKT, but the gold, of course, getting farther away over time.
Yeah, SKT are able to get a couple summoners, and 2 of them are critically on iBoy. Now they're actually starting up the Rift Herald, but EDG still decently in the area.
Yeah, there's a full HP level 11 Maokai in the bottom lane that could join for a fight. He's on his way.
Only 2 ultimates available for SKT, the Shockwave and Monsoon. Don't know if they're going to be fight starters. Here comes Maokai around the backside. Mouse looks for Faker. Monsoon to buy some time. Where's the Shockwave going to be? He's waiting for it. Doesn't find the opening just yet as Rift Herald keeps hitting clear love, then resets. SKT disengage, and they pull the TP out of Mouse. But Huni used his as well.
Even that is a pretty good escape from SKT. They're able to get out of this river where the Maokai had flanked them with the teleport, and they do live a little bit longer. The Rift Herald should eventually go over to EDG after they recall and reset after all those shenanigans and be able to clean it up later, though.
But you guys talked about, like, how is SKT defending? Why are they often so good at it? Well, small calls like the one we just saw here, important ones. They start the Rift Herald knowing they won't get it for free, just to force the TP from the Maokai and then instantly disengage. That does buy them a bit of time, but they don't have to be so afraid of Mouse. And this is a play from before. Clearlove staying in the melee range and LeBlanc waiting for all the cooldowns gives enough time for Huni to get HP back. And while he doesn't get the kill, at least he forces the jungler very low.
You can see Under Gaming continuing to turn the screws here. 3,500 gold up. They've tied the Inferno Drake count. And if they go in the next 2 minutes, they'll grab the Rift Herald as well. But so far, not an important goal for them.
Let's see. iBoy, go mid lane, 2 items, push it out. Push it all the way down to that tier 2 tower. And then walk into the top side to secure that Rift Herald. EDG should want to fight for it. They have such a strong AD carry at this point. SKT are just trying to delay them for as long as possible.
Yeah, I mean, as much as we set up all the things against SKT right now in this game, they have come back from some very, very daunting situations.
Scout looking for it here. They're going to find maybe Faker or maybe just Blank with a flash forward. Scout wants him and his ex-teammate is down. A spree for Scout looking for an next one to go. A flash from Blank keeps him alive, but it's still 5 straight kills for Edward Gaming. A shutout against the world champions.
Now, after the pick here for EDG, they push up mid. Scout is going topside. His teleport is down, but trying to get the minion wave in place.
Okay, EDG not just rushing straight to the objective, now realizing, wait a minute, there's still a Rift Herald.
Well, they see Huni on bottom side too, and Huni's going to start to take his toll. I don't know if he'll be able to finish the turret before Mouse arrives. Jensen's going to do a little dance and take a break from this one. He'll come back in 15 more minutes when SKT have stalled it out, I guess.
There you go. But yeah, Rift Herald goes down. Huni getting some alone time on bot lane, and honestly, a turret itself is a full turret kill. Rift Herald not always worth one.
Exactly. Huni is the only winning lane for SKT at the moment. Despite being 0-2, he's going to win that lane against the Maokai. We get the play from before here. Faker staying too far forward, trying to get a ward down, and suddenly realizing, okay, he's actually overextended. Good TP coming in from Scout to secure the kill, and the Rift Herald right after.
Blank tries his best to land the ultimate on one of the aggressors to save Faker. Not going to happen, though. There are more coming to claim.
Now, I want to highlight Huni on the Trundle specifically because we were talking to Papa Smithy backstage after the Jace game, where he was highlighting how, with Ontara, SKT is all about playing as a team, not with a split pusher, because Ontara is playing much more as a team player, much more of these tanks as well. But Huni at MSI was all about taking all the farm, getting all the farm, being a big split pushing threat. even on things like Galio, actually, he would do that and just be like so strong in the side lane and then join his team. This game now, and the Jace one, they're going back to that style of try and give Huni as many resources as possible and hope he can carry from a side.
They could dive this turret, though. I mean, EDG are already prepped around it, and it would take a long teleport channel time for Huni to actually arrive anyway.
Drops to
even
it down.
if he did.
That's number 4. Rift Herald, of course, still in inventory, waiting with clear love. Huni, all he got for that was some more split push farm on the side. He went from 200 to 219 farm, but has yet to get himself into that important fight. Has 0 armor items to deal with Ivoy's Tristana. On 2 items already, Bang yet to get Infinity Edge. That's the power spike when maybe it starts spinning around for SKT, but until then, they've got almost nothing.
So please, EDG, keep playing fast. Keep pushing towards SKT. Set up your vision around the Baron so you can always threaten starting that big objective. Focused on the other tier 2 tower in either top or bot lane with your Rift Herald. Do not let SKT scale.
Especially with this Mountain Drake, EDG have the opportunity to jump on this control of Baron. Currently, there are a couple wards for SKT still in this area, and they're doing a good job of keeping those afloat.
Now Baron's up, you can see. And you can see those wards that SKT have put down. Vision control, one of their absolute hallmarks. Blank even adds more to the stack. Make sure they can see what Edward Gaming is up to. 3-0 LeBlanc, of course, very scary, as it looks like EDG are ready to go for this march.
Here we had the gold graph from last week, where it was basically over. EDG sitting with a 10,000 gold lead at 30 minutes, but then that big engage happened in the mid lane, where everything went in favor of SKT.
Now everybody's going to remember SKT coming back and say, oh, SKT always comes back. But I want to start to lay out some of the plans for EDG to avoid this scenario. You know, LeBlanc, yes, she is difficult, more difficult to pull off in these late game team fights, but one of the strategies that has been very successful in this current meta is assassinating the supports, the Ardent sensor carrying champions. And that is exactly what Scout could do in these team fights. If he can get around Blank to kill off Wolf at the beginning of the team fight, or Bang, you know, Bang would be the gold standard, right? But even if he can just get Wolf, that would be a huge flank, and we have seen it pulled off many times thus far. Take out the Ardent Sensor Carrier, that really reduces a lot of the threat from the AD carry.
What happens, Bang trying to wave through. Rift Herald could be knocked around and killed as well, but I got half the health off that turret. EDG, though, not going to stay on this. They are actually going to back off and let that turret stay alive. And you saw the graph from the previous win before, the SKT comeback. This is not nearly the same size of gold lead, though. You talk about, well, the comp's not quite as explosive, but the need is not quite as high either. And again, it's a team like SKT. You obviously cannot count them out, especially with the lead at only 3,500.
Sure, and that's why EDG are looking at Baron as the next big objective after they kill this tier 2 tower that's so low. Because then if you get 5 control wards on the map, SKT should not have vision in that river, and they will be forced to come in and face check you before they're actually ready to fight. And then this almost 3-item Tristana or Scout with 2 items on the flank should be able to carry.
Looking for the play here on No Wolf. Does not land the chamber. The second one's going to go in, and that not yet the kill. Looks for a bit more explosive. Cast clears it in. Clear love. Yes, 2 and 0 and 2.
Ardent Sensor down. EDG have a window to work with.
Seems they can actually use it though. Right now, there's still a few wards around Baron from SKT, so they kind of know roughly what's happening here.
But it would be 4v5 with a deficit. Look for the next play. Not yet going to find Blank. He is able to jump out, but that's how much they worry about that smite.
And again, you need 5 control wards. Deny everything from SKT. Baron is being started. Blue buff going down. Bang. And SKT moving in to stop them.
Here comes Moon around the side. Sorry, Mouse, I got the name wrong. Looking for the play. She's going to root up Blank and walk right back out as Huni stays on the turret. He's looking for the inhibitor itself as Baron is still taking damage. That will be cleanly picked up by Edward Gaming. They're going to back out, no problem. SKT just getting more farm on Huni, looking for kills on turrets.
SKT going to back off because EDG were able to finish that Baron so quickly. Huni has no more time to work through the inhibitor turret, and it's barely left standing.
And is going to live, yeah. He was holding turret dagger for part of it. You saw his health bar get very, very low. He was fighting in between waves. And again, he's got some farm, and it's SKT taking a page out of Longju's book as well, the Korean champions. They had often would sit there and bleed objective, just giving farm onto Khan, onto Longju's top laner, and SKT looking for, again, this style. It is on Huni to be that force.
Normally, if you want to play the defensive style, you want to prevent Baron from going down like 30 minutes, if you can, ideally, because the enemy team can't push into your base then. We're 25 minutes in, and EDG now picks up the Baron. They should use this to get an inhib down. And then suddenly your split pushing style most likely won't work because the enemy team are literally threatening your base.
We'll see if that base gets threatened enough right here. Gold lead 4.7 thousand. Baron buff on 5. And 2 Drakes. Good for pushing.
Will SKT be able to pull it off again? All of the North American fans are behind them as well as their own fans. EDG with this Baron buff are coming with the pressure. And this defense is going to be extremely important.
Very important also that iBoy can reduce the healing, especially from Huni when he's sitting with that ulti trying to go ham in a team fight. He's actually a target you can take down now with the Executioner's falling on iBoy's side. Also with all the healing from Janna and the redemption we will get eventually from Wolf.
Luxury of being ahead in gold. He's still got the double completed Zeal upgrades. He's ahead in items, plus has boots for a little bit of defense in case the Trundle comes after him with the Twitch. Plus, actually, who's calling you guys are mentioning right now, Edward Gaming looking to make the run, the 4-0 run on the last day of groups to get into the top 8 when they were winless the first time around. Shockwave onto 3, but there's no damage to follow up. That's a summoner spell, sorry, an ultimate on cooldown, and not much to show for it.
Good defense though from Faker, getting almost the entire wave and forcing a flash from Mako. Scout getting some damage in the mid lane. It's all about applying pressure multiple lanes at the same time, but EDG are right now not getting enough with their Baron buff. They still got about a minute left.
Not just yet. Huni actually under-leveled to Scout despite all his split pushing. Scout's got so many resources to his name. Round 2 on the turret. This one's going to fall. SKT giving it away yet again. Positive gold lead in Baron buff. Hard to defend against.
Unless they're able to crack the... Oh, good crit there. Unless they're able to crack the inhibitor turrets, though. SKT, this is the line of defense that they actually have to hold. The outer turrets are one thing. iBoy trying to make work of it.
We have to see also if Blank can actually land the ulti. There is still no Mikhail or QSS.
Oh, got a little bit of damage. The pillar was there, but of course able to jump away. Every auto that Scout lands, though, takes several minutes to regen. Very slowly. We're going to be pushing in farther. 25 seconds left on Baron, though. It's timing out soon.
Yeah, get in there, iBoy, man.
Shockwave on the iBoy. He's got to watch out for this one. Gets away, and Barrier plus with the ultimate down to stay alive a bit more.
SK3, again, they chip away at your summoners, chip away at your ultimates, and iBoy more vulnerable now. They have to back off. A little bit too scared to finish off this secondary.
2 good shockwaves from Faker. EDG could definitely have avoided both
for the play. Mouse wants to dive. This could be the winning fight then. They're going to push them off at least to get the inhibitor turret. Scout to backfill with the team. 5v5, the front lines are available. No shockwave, though, means they might be all right. Huni put down to 2/3, and now some alone time with the inhibitor. Pillar comes in, but no fight yet as Huni is yet to ult as well. He's not really trying to take stats. Inhibitor still not defended, looking to knock it down.
We have to remember, it's Blank who's the main engage for SKT in this comp. He can't rely on Wolf starting a fight. The Sejuani ulti needs to fly towards EDG for anything to really happen. And this is now an inhib for Inward Gaming.
That was the big thing. That was what EDG needed to get during this Baron buff. The home crowd chanting, Jayo, refill, be ready for this one. Edward Gaming hoping to make it that 4-0 run, to make it into the top 8. They've cracked the inhibitor against SKT. This time they have to close it out.
Cloud Drake picked up, and Scout also fighting for that blue buff with Huni, it looks like. Actually, just fighting Huni. The blue buff had no part in this.
Scout gets to regen. Huni kind of the same. Pretty strong champion over there on the side. 305, 6, 8, 10. Flame Horizon coming in soon for Huni, but will it be enough? Frozen Heart is in. That's going to be a nice, pretty important power spike. Going to drop some of the attack speed off of iBoy. But can Huni be invincible enough?
Oh,
is
Blank.
the engage going to be there for Blank? Maybe onto himself. He jumps in, finds a chain, stays alive.
The new setup now for EDG is around mid and top lane. They already got super minions in the bot lane. Baron is not alive for at least 2 more minutes, but they can still wait for that objective and play around it once again because they got that first Baron so early. We're not even 30 minutes in and we're still seeing a 4-item Tristana. I love the fact that iBoy are winning his lane and team, they trust him as well to be a carry.
iBoy definitely going to be critical for the 5 versus 5. I'm still as well looking at Scout. How effective can he be on this level 16 mid-game LeBlanc? He's 3-0-2 for his team. He has the Fog of War to work with. Oh,
Ulti not going to land for more than a slow. Scout just barely outside the window for it. And that's the key engage ultimate down. It's now only Faker's Shockwave that SKT has as a fight starter.
So Just look at the ball on the ground here. iBoy can step to the side, always get a few hits on the turret.
Big damage out of Scout, looking to knock down Wolf. Summoner heal burned to keep him alive a bit longer.
Right now, SKT have Huni pushing out as many waves as he can to buy them time for him to be able to lend more defense to the mid. And they're gonna go with it. Maokai ultimate, go.
To zone out the team, push them off the turret. A few auto attacks are going to be safe for this squad. A smite comes in for Blink. Turret's going to fall. And Huni's around to the backside, going to pop the ulti on a Mouse. Will there be a fight again? The stun from Blink not going to find much useful. Moving the disengage for EDG, at least for now. Huni now on the chase. They want this one. Mouse at half health. Looking for the re-engage back on a Trundle. Will this be the fight? Scout into the back line. Can't quite get the kills. The reset of the Monsoon. And Azonius pops to buy some time. Looking for iBoy. Tristana safe on the backside. First kill comes through for Huni's Trundle. They've got one. And Mouse is too low to get out. This should be two. Shockwave. A good rocket to stay safe, but 2 kills for SKT. Looking for the third. Clear Love is clearly going down. A double kill for Bang.
SKT do it again. They foil the engage from EDG. Scout on the LeBlanc tries to go in and gets annihilated.
And the timing is perfect. Baron is alive now, but look at EDG.
Looking for the big play. Almost got the assassination of Faker. He wants it. He can't get him though, and he's dead for this one. There is no way out. He pops the barrier. Mako certain to fall. The ace for SK Telecom T1.
The young rookie trying to make the big outplays against Faker, but he didn't get the kill. Huni can defend the base. Baron will go over to SKT. The only 4K go down.
Back
gonna be
against
3,000.
the walls. Do never bet against SKT.
We have to look at iBoy in the team fight and see how many autos he got off in that exchange. Huni was just tanking in the front line. So iBoy sitting up here near Mako, top of your screen, getting a few hits on the Trundle. Meanwhile, Scout jumps into the back.
As we said as well before, the Trundle can team fight. He's leeching away all these tank stats from the Maokai. That's why they're able to resist iBoy's onslaught. And the effectiveness of the late game LeBlanc, not there. He splashes in for it, but gets immediately denied.
And Huni also placed a really good pillar in the face of the Tristana. It stopped iBoy for a few seconds. He couldn't auto-tag anything. That's when Scout jumped in at the same time. And iBoy, he came for the king.
Yeah, he wanted the reset here off of Faker's death, but he was unable to deliver.
Where's Mako? Obvious to fall afterwards, the ace, and so this is now the reset game, 2,000 apart. And despite Bang, who was down roughly 3,000 gold in that fight, put out just as much damage as iBoy, even a little bit more.
And the worst part for EDG is the fact that now the game slows down. SKT gets more time to farm. There's no super minions with Baron buff coming into their base, and an EDG team right behind them. Inhib will respawn.
Trundle will be stealing their main tank stats. Faker on Orianna will have a much easier time. Oh, well, we have a teleport in. Maokai's coming to play.
Tristana looking for this opening here. Huni slowed a little bit. Mouse around the side. Orianna far. Faker actually not in this fight, but Blink wants to re-engage now. Damage and a clear love. Mouse kills away a ward.
And at the moment, Scout lacking kill pressure with all the shields and the healing from both Wolf and, of course, the barrier as well on Bang's side. Another re-engage.
Flash in for the pillar. They can catch out Mouse. The front lines have engaged in battle. Waiting for the marksman to open up for the damage up. But Explosive Cow's going to pull Huni back in, but he is practically invincible. His health bar gold on this one.
Scout back in base with teleport. There are a lot of wards behind SKT, but it's so hard to flank as a LeBlanc in the late game.
And for now, it's a safe 5v4. SKT have knocked down mid lane outer turret. Only their third turret of the game, number 4 in their sights. As mid lane tier 2 is there. Shockwave out of the front line. Not a kill just yet. Redemption to heal him back up, but Edward Gaming's health bar is getting a bit low. Bang shot to half HP. Nice shot from iBoy to dock him down, but the siege can continue soon when the wave comes in.
Again, bottom lane is pushing as well. Scout continually going over there to try and clear off some of the minions, but the Baron buff allows SKT to continue the onslaught.
And there we go. Pillar just to zone them out. iBoy can't do much more. Mid lane tier 2 falls, and SKT back with the gold lead.
I can't believe this is the second time where EDG wins the early game against SKT. But then they end up falling behind due to a late game fight. The game is not over, but it's suddenly looking much harder for them to win and try and get that tiebreaker against Cloud9. If they lose here, they're out of Worlds.
Momentum certainly SKT's favor right now. Mountain Drink to be grabbed up by SK Telecom T1. The 3-time world champions poised to go 5-1 in the group. If they can close this one out, Elder Dragon the next to spawn, of course. Waiting for the next big play to come through. Back to the jungle for both these sides. The inhibitors alive on all edges. This next item completion coming through. The question is, who can keep up?
So much of it hinged around that mid-fight at the inhibitor. So much gold given over to SKT. So much power with the Baron buff as well. And it almost took all of the win out of EDG's composition here, all the momentum. It would have to be a very big play from Scout now to try and make up.
It's for Bang. Now Scout over the wall. That could have been a threat. He's going to find the chain on a blink. He's practically invincible on the Sejuani.
Look at mid lane. EDG pushing straight for the turret. It's only Huni there, just around it for now.
Okay.
For the inhib, I mean.
The race is on. They got some shots in the inhibitor, but SKT have answered in time. Control where to go down, and no real harm to the base.
Now, if Scout can't assassinate anyone in the backline, then he needs to change the way his team fighting. He needs to become more of a distraction. Force SKT to respect him from the flank, while iBoy have time to kill Huni or Blank. You often need to wait for the Trundle ulti to disappear and then turn back onto him, and he's actually, quote-unquote, fairly squishy.
I like the quotes then. Okay.
Yeah.
I'll give you credit with your quotes.
I'm just saying, he's not actually squishy, but a lot squishier than with the ulti.
All right, now let's take stock of the map here. No major objectives available, so it's much harder to play aggressively. Scout right now split pushing the bot side of the map. Mouse trying to catch the waves that Huni shoves in. And you see the lack of wards right now. Look at the bottom of the map right there. Not a lot of vision, so Scout can't go any farther. He gets some priority, but no one really cares about that side of the map right now.
I want to see what iBoy's doing with his lifesteal there. It is a Blade the Run King coming in.
What's the right choice?
I think that is a good choice. I was about to say, if you're going for Black or for BT or something, it would be the wrong choice. I like this more here. Blade Run King trying to kill the tank. It's going to be much longer team fight from EDG's side. Grind out the Trundle and the Sejuani. See if iBoy can take down one of them. While you got to respect the game.
This time, but he gets away with it so far. The shields are in. Will there be a re-engage? Not quite. Bang goes out, gets ulted back. Nice shot with the back line. Will they get him? It's so close. iBoy the flash forward, and Faker gets with the auto. Doesn't even need Nash's auto attack to land so well. And Clear Love now isolated. 1 versus 4. He is going to fall as well. Bang on a rampage. 7-6 in kills. SKT look to do it again.
SK Telecom taking down the inhibitor turret and taking down EDG's hopes.
The primary carry is dead. The only damage left in the comp is a LeBlanc, and Scout's going to try to catch some of the minion waves to kill as many as he can. Now buys a few seconds as well. The inhibitors gone though. The minions still a few survive. One will break the backdoor bonus. Mouse dives it and kills it. Does this buy the time though? Because Mouse is certain to fall, and he's been trapped up. Next up it's Scout. Can he make it happen? Can he get out of the base? He's gonna try, but look at the shots out from Bang. Tony's buys a couple of seconds, but there he goes. Blink gets a kill credit, and now it's Mako catching one last wave. Buying a few more seconds. iBoy spawning in 2, Clear Love in 6, but it doesn't even matter. Edward Gaming came so close, and they looked so good, and they were almost that third team in, but it is SK Telecom T1 with another comeback win, 5-1.
Congratulations, SKT. They get first seed in this group. Congratulations, Cloud9, on getting second seed in this group due to EDG losing.
Due to Cloud9 beating EDG in week 1. Getting that advantage in hand, heading here to week 2. But honestly, SKT, we have to revisit this story once again. So often, calm and collected in their late game, boys. The counter engage there, completely stuffing Scout, completely annihilating EDG's hopes.
And the patience to bleed one objective at a time until they got their first power spike and their second. Infinity Edge finally came through on Bang. Frozen Heart finally there on Huni to become invincible against the single marksman. A LeBlanc eventually falls off a cliff in late game team fights. And you know, the split push didn't come through for EDG. SKT got the fights they needed.
Yeah, and you get these late game fights where an Orianna and a Twitch, they can actually threaten the backline of EDG. EDG couldn't do the same. They had to just try and kill the tanks, and it meant that iBoy was constantly trying to run away and stay alive, while also having to kill 2 mega tanks right in front of him. Almost impossible for him to carry the late game fights against Twitch and Orianna and the big tanks.
Always there. You have the advantage in the tank-to-tank fight. If your Trundle is shredding the main tank and your Twitch is shooting right through him to the backline, as you said anyway.
Fairly squishy. No, not squishy at all.
No.
Too tanky.
Difficulties certainly. Edward Gaming It is a heartbreak, of course. They came so close. They opened the day and looked insanely good, and the hype was real. You saw Fnatic do it and pull it through in the tiebreaker. Ever Gaming knocked down 1, they knocked down 2, and they were poised to knock down 3. And you think about if they had closed either of these SKT games, they'd be tie-breaking in a second.
And it's another domestic champion now dropping out of the group stages. Only Longshow able to actually advance as the LCK champion. And with EDG, like in Wuhan with Clearlove, we've all heard the story of him playing in his hometown here, almost making a comeback. I feel so bad for them because, again, they were so close to winning this game and at least get a tiebreaker, but it's not happening.
Not the case. Cloud9 goes automatically, having that 3-3 record. Props to them for the second spot out of the group. But now to find more about how SKT nabbed that win, let's check in with our analysts.
Thank you very much, Freak. SKT, they do it again. They mount another massive comeback to dash the hopes of the EDG squad and the entirety of the LPL as they almost made the miracle run to get out of this group and move onwards.
So that's exactly what I said all day. I said EDG have a great early game. Their team fighting is not as strong as any of the other LPL squads here. If SKT can get it to a team fight phase, they're just going to roll over.
And let's take a look at that 30-minute team fight.
And the big deal with this fight is the timing. There are 30 seconds until Baron. There is no need for you to look for absolutely anything. They fall into the trap and they decide, let's roll the dice against SKT late game.
And while this team fight does not look great from EDG, we have to give them so much credit for the ridiculous early game that they had. The bot lane performance out of Mako and iBoy, I think, is the best 2v2 laning we've seen in the entire tournament. You know, no one had dominated that hard in the tournament previously. Picking the Lulu and taking, in 2 minutes after the minions actually, arrive, they take the turret and 20 CS lead in essentially 4 minutes.
I do want to quickly point at this play. A lot of people will say, why would you flash forward there? He tried to get the reset. He tried to just get back to safety. He knew he was screwed as soon as that Trundle pillar came back out. I think iBoy made the right call. Maybe not on the rocket drop, but definitely on the flash.
Yeah, once he's already in there, he's already a dead man. You jump forward and you're slowed by Trundle pillar. You're not getting out unless you get a reset. So you can criticize the initial play, but he's trying to make something happen when his team has just kind of thrown the game.
And I just cannot help but see the similarities between the first game of SKT EDG and this second one when it comes to the game-winning fight from SKT. It revolves around the decision of Baron. The first time around, do you do Dragon or defend the Baron? EDG fall for it again. Here, do you push the inhibitor or do you set up the Baron? They go for the inhibitor again and they lose it 2 times. And it's just a fundamental choice that they were not able to fix from one week to another.
And the saddest part about this is, with that last team fight, this game-deciding team fight essentially, outside of SKT's base, the bottom lane inhibitor is already down.
Exactly.
Wait for the super minions to push in. You don't have to force anything. They literally just had to wait for SKT to respond. You have side lane pressure on top side with a LeBlanc. She could be up there slip pushing. You could have a 4-man squad in the mid lane. And this is an easy game that you can bleed out. And while I am happy that, Cloud9 now gets out of the group, I'm also disappointed because we've seen such incredible performances from EDG, and they were so close to actually making it into a tiebreaker and potentially getting out of this group. And you have to think that if this week 2 EDG showed up in week 1, they get first in the group probably. Like, they look so good, and this could be a team that really could have challenged some teams in the quarterfinals.
And it wasn't just the strength of EDG. It was very clear that you could see the blueprints, the fingerprints of the entire LPL on EDG. They came into Wuhan. They had a conjoint effort bootcamp between WE, between RNG, between EDG. EDG didn't necessarily participate in the first half of it, but taking the Caitlyn, suddenly cleaning up their team fighting, it looked like a lot of the alliances that were built at Rift Rivals were injected into this team to make them go Super Saiyan in week 2.
I mean, but it speaks to the pressure of the moment, right? Kind of what you're talking about when it comes to being that close to victory. A couple decisions made differently, and perhaps they walk away with it. But that's what it means to be competing on the world stage.
And that's also why we talk so much about shot calling. And there's these certain iconic players that within their regions, people talk a lot about them. In North America, so many times people talk about High and more recently Smithy and the kind of value that some of these guys add. And it's helping with decision-making like that, being able to stay calm, being able to stay focused, and being able to make those calls. And that's something that Clearlove is certainly known for on the team. But, in this particular instance, they're not able to pull it off.
I'm so glad that you brought up High. I know that we had like a bit of disagreement because High's been a bit better on an international stage than, say, someone like Clearlove, but I actually see a ton of similarities. I call Clearlove all the time the High of the LPL because there is just that intangible X factor, something unique about him. The fact that EDG didn't make the finals, he comes back to the team, they suddenly make the finals, they reverse sweep RNG, they try to mount an incredible comeback here, and it's just, he's been such a meme and such a joke on the international stage, rightly so for a lot of his international blunders and performances. But today, the international audience finally got to see what the domestic audience knows that Clearlove has been capable of.
Now, while we're talking about him, and since we are going to be saying goodbye to EDG for the tournament, I want to return to what you were talking about at the beginning of the day, perhaps hinting at Clearlove and retirement if the day doesn't go for him as planned. But given their performance today, even in the wake of not necessarily qualifying for the quarterfinals, you starting to rethink that a little bit?
I mean, I was terrified that 2016 was going to retire Clearlove. He took a break off. He said it was to try to refocus his mentality. We saw those changes and those adjustments come through when they were able to make that surge on RNG. You can see it here today, the fact that they even fronted a comeback this time around in week number 2. But that said, I mean, Clearlove, he's been around the scene for a long time. It's always been that quarterfinal curse, and eventually the tiny little voice in the back of your head just starts telling you, you're not good enough, you can't do it, you never were, and it's just trying to overcome that every single year.
And I think it's so hard because even if you're like, okay, I know exactly what to fix, let me play again, and it'll be perfect, right? You don't get to play again right away. You have to wait an entire year. An entire year where you then need to be successful not only in your own region, you need to be able to reach the levels where you just even get to Worlds. Then you need to hope probably for a good group draw. Then you need to make sure that your teammates and everything is coming together at the right time. Maybe that it's a good meta for your team. Like, there's so many pieces that have to come together, and that's why, you know, losses on these levels is so heartbreaking, and why you see the response, and not only from the fans but from the players here too, especially the players, because they pour their hearts and their souls into this game and into the practice for it, and losing that one game, that can be something that haunts you for years.
Can you imagine going in front of, again, your home crowd? He's from Wuhan. This was, you know, MSI 2015, that was LeBlanc's, or Faker's undefeated LeBlanc. Today, it was Scout's undefeated LeBlanc. That is the first time that it's taken a loss. There is such a strong, you couldn't script a better love story between SKT and EDG at this point. The amount of times that these guys keep running into each other and what it builds into.
All right, well, today's results mean that it will be SKT and C9 advancing to the quarterfinals from Group A, while EDG and AHQ are out of Worlds 2017. The LPL champions made a great run on the deciding day, but fell just short in a loss against SKT.
Well, SKT still remains that incredible late-game team, and the big part of why they are so deadly in that stage is when they draft accordingly. Bang's Twitch, even though they lost tower at 6 minutes, still finds a way to flash forward to continuously pressure the backline. One of the reasons why Twitch is such a powerful pick. Same with Faker's Orianna. They just need to draft themselves the tools to be able to execute those clutch moments, and clutch is the adjective that best describes SKT.
Yeah, they really are clutching. Clutch again for C9. This is 2 years in a row that C9 is actually depending on SKT after a 1-2 second week in the same group. Last year it was SKT having to beat Flash Wolves for C9 to get through. This year it's SKT having to beat EDG for C9 to get through. 2 out of 2 times they push the last remaining NA team into the quarterfinals.
All right, well, as we're minutes away from the knockout draw, and as we just took a look at the standings, the way the groups have broken down, I kind of want to pose the question to you. Which groups, which teams look the strongest? Who do you want to avoid going into that knockout stage if you were to be able to choose?
You avoid Longzhu at all costs. Yeah. Like, this team is on fire. As the Fisher was mentioning, that is the #1 seed that has been able to retain their spot, and very rightfully so, because they are redefining the meta. I am sure they are not going to be strangers to Caitlyn when we come through, and they are playing the top lane split pushers that SKT have been trying with Huni as well. So this team you absolutely do not want to be playing against.
I don't want to steal any of the thunder from Longzhu, because I do agree they are incredibly impressive, but I also think that they might have been in the weakest group in terms of the actual performance that we saw from them. Yes, we got some crazy games from GAM, but you know, there was lack of adaptation, a couple of players and teams really choking. Would Longzhu look so impressive if they ran into that iteration of EDG in an early game? And that's really the question I have. They might have been insulated.
And that's what I think is actually super, super interesting about all league analysis when you're coming to this international play is it can be super hard to actually compare performances in different groups, right? So while Longzhu looked exceptionally dominant, is it because their group is weaker or is it because they are that much better, right? You know, they handled SKT quite handily in the LCK finals, and SKT tops this group, and while, you know, that kind of math doesn't always play out, I'm very excited to see how they actually match up against any of the second seeds, because I tend to agree that Longzhu is a death sentence for any second seed that draws them.
I think every second seed is a death sentence. I don't think anyone actually can take down all the #1 seeds. Just look at them. You've got SKT, Longzhu, RNG, and WE. Who from the second seed looks like they have a shot? I think
Samsung
only
Galaxy?
Samsung. Only Samsung. And they're not going to be able to take down one of the powerhouses of Korea. So their best bet would be against the LPL in some sort of stylistic mismatch.
If not Samsung Galaxy, I'd be looking at Misfits most likely.
To take a first seed down?
So it depends
I mean,
on the first
if
seed.
I have to choose is what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's likely.
So I think that, like, while I certainly wouldn't be betting on Misfits, I think that Misfits, because of the improvement and the growth that they've shown, you know, they could be exciting. I wouldn't necessarily take them against a team that has been as consistent as SKT or Longzhu or something, but perhaps, you know, WE has had some ups and downs. You know, they have shown some weaknesses. You know, maybe there's an opening there. RNG has looked brilliant in group stages, but we've had group stages past, you know, at MSI, thinking back, where they went 8-2 and then, you know, kind of burned out in the elimination stages. So these are teams that have not proven that they're exceptionally consistent throughout the elimination stage, and maybe you can attack them.
There's a lot of maybes there. That's the point, right? It's going to be an uphill battle for a team like Misfits, but they're definitely equipped to do it if they show up on the day. The other thing I want to talk about is the way the regions broke down, right? Of course, we do still have
we did
three.
Break down.
And they made it out, baby. Yes. We do still have, of course, 3 Korean teams through, 2 LPL, 2 Europe, and 1 NA. What are our thoughts there in terms of the region's performances here at Worlds and moving on?
Do you want my harsh reality?
Yeah, let's go.
I'm going to get flamed so hard. I honestly feel like the better team didn't make it out of Group A today. I feel like EDG their highs were much higher than the highs that we saw from Cloud9. And while Cloud9 were more consistent from week 1 to week 2, and that's why they deserve to take the spot, if I'm talking about at both teams playing at their best, the best performance that we saw from EDG outclassed almost everyone versus the best performance that we saw from Cloud9.
I think everyone would agree with you.
You're too nice. That sounds really
I'm scared I'm going to open up social media.
We're like, so maybe some diehard fans would disagree, but yes, Cloud9 deserves to get out because they had a better week 1 performance, right? But are they the better team overall? No, I don't think so. I think that EDG showed higher highs, but at the end of the day, you have to succeed in the format that is given, right? And so much about Worlds is consistency, and we see that time and time again from the Korean teams. We do not see that time and time again from the other regions, and that, I think, is why you see them, you know, falter at Worlds, and why we saw so many #1 seeds, you know, getting eliminated is because of the lack of consistency, not because of how good they can be at their best. When you look at G2, TSM, EDG, and the Flash Wolves all falling out in groups, it's not because these teams can't have great moments, it's because they didn't have great moments consistently over 2 weeks. And that is what it takes to succeed at Worlds.
And this is all before we even begin the conversation around the meta and the way it's developed here at Worlds, right? It's usually when we get to those best of 5s, when people start bringing out those pocket picks, we start seeing the MF supports of last year really throwing wrenches and stuff. Exactly. So it's going to be exciting to see which of these teams, again, in practice. We got the Caitlyn innovation here, and which ones will be quick to adapt, and who will come in kind of striking the first blow in those best of 5s.
I think that is going to be super exciting, also because we know that the Korean teams are usually so confident about making it out of groups that they're willing to save strategies. They're willing to hold back things. When you think about MF in the semifinals, Rocks versus SKT, that was not shown at all. Zyra became a big pick in the quarterfinals and going forward, not in the group stages. I'm very excited to see what innovation is going to come forward, and also, honestly, how the brackets shape up, because we could have one side of the group with 3 Koreans. We could have them split up across. You know, if you get that 3 Korean side on one side, it almost has an amazing chance for the LPL.
I've got to cut you off because it is now time for us to go ahead and send it down to the LPL's Rendong for the draw of our knockout stage matchups.
淘汰赛阶段的抽签仪式现场，大家好，我是任舵。
大家好，我是余生。
是的，那么曾经怀揣着冠军梦想的24支战队，到目前为止只剩下最后的8支战队了。那么接下来让我们一起来
what this Worlds tournament has been, where we started with 24 teams down to 8.
他们分别是 SKT、龙珠。
Running through the teams of Pool A. These are the first seeds out of their group. Wolf, the representative from SKT, Gorilla of Longzhu, Ming of RNG, and Zero of WE. On the flip side, we've got the second seeds qualifying through. Jensen from C9, Caps from Fnatic, Kuve of Samsung Galaxy, and Maxlor of the Misfits.
You have to love how happy Caps is there.
He can't help himself. They made it.
I mean, they did what EDG almost did. And the fact that we almost had 2 teams go through like that is phenomenal.
It's always nice, though, that we got both EU and NA out to quarterfinals.
Running through some of the rules, of course, don't worry. We've got plenty of people behind the scenes checking every single one of the picks to make sure that the draws are validated, and we will deliver that information to you as we receive it.
我们接下来将请出今天的筹钱嘉宾，让我们欢迎 OMG Icon。
有请 Icon。So Icon.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, Icon is the mid laner for OMG. A lot of people will recognize as Cool was the former big mid laner, but he actually transferred teams to Newbie and then to LGD.
Where do I get my hands on a suit like that?
He is very handsome.
接下来请 Icon 开始进行筹钱。
Beginning the draw. Our first team draw will be Royal Never Give Up.
Of course, RNG started out very strong in their group and then continued to solidify it on the back half, really just marching through everyone with a very fast and furious style.
好的，有请 Icon 继续筹钱。
Next up, the reigning champions of SK Telecom T1.
You have to feel like everyone is going to be hoping to dodge Samsung. I think that is really the #2 seed that no one wants, because although they showed a lot of weaknesses, we know how high their highs are, talking about teams who can improve.
They did take SKT to a Game 5 in finals, which had never really been done before. So that is one of the reasons why you truly want to get
WE, the third team picked, will go to the opposite side of the bracket.
Zero can't quite figure out where to look on the screen. He's like, what, over there? No, over here? Got it.
请 Icon 继续筹钱。
No surprises there. Longzhu, the last of the 1 seeds.
And this does mean this opposite side of the brackets for Longzhu and SKT looking like. So, that is potentially something that could be set up for that finals.
I mean, the 2 Chinese teams as well, right? Of course, as we are completed with the Pool 1 draw, we'll be moving on to Pool 2. No Pool 2 team can be on the same side of the bracket with the Pool 1 team from their group. That's the important thing to remember here.
So we're going to be doing a lot of shuffling, probably, so we can slot everyone correctly.
C9, they slid in here at the end as SKT helped them out.
Yep.
Let's see where they end up. Team WE will be their matchup.
And I actually think that's the most preferential draw possible for Cloud9. Still WE looking incredibly strong, but that is something that seems assailable. It feels like if Cloud9 play at their best, they may be able to have a chance.
Bit of a traffic jam there.
RNG's like, we'd like to play them. There it is. I want to confirm just for the viewers that this is correct. C9 versus WE, just so there's no confusion.
Have bees in his collar? Because that is some style that I want to take.
His name is literally Icon. I don't know what you want.
Our next team to be drawn from Pool 2, who's it going to be?
Fnatic.
And it's the European LCS's Fnatic.
Yeah, speaking of just sliding in there, Fnatic made the hero run.
Caps is like, me? I'm on Fnatic. Oh, I
am. RNG Fnatic. What are our thoughts on this matchup? That's a scary LPL squad.
It is a very scary LPL squad. I think so many people are going to be hyped for Reckless versus Uzi. Ooh. 2 of the biggest bot lane stars in the entire world going head-to-head.
Only 2 teams left to be drawn. Samsung Galaxy and Misfits. And it will be Samsung Galaxy of the LCK.
Gonna have to see where they go, because that really is the second seed that everyone's talking about, and it's gonna be an all-Korean affair. That is A spicy quarterfinals.
That matchup is going to be quite something because Samsung will have to really bring the heat if they want to keep up.
This means that the last matchup will be SKT Misfits. We'll, of course, complete the draw just to confirm. But, oof.
The suspense, it's Misfits.
And while it is SKT, and yes, SKT is the favorites, and yes, they're the 3-time world champions, they showed a lot of weakness in the early game where Misfits really did excel. So maybe a way in for this team.
Who looks more beatable out of the LCK teams, Samsung or SKT?
Samsung.
好的，接下来让我们再次看一下淘汰赛的对阵情况。
Going through the matchups one more time for clarity.
肯定会在广州上演属于所有英雄联盟的一场非常精彩绝伦的一场又一场的好戏。
I mean, Misfits, the team that says
好的，
that
那么让我
they
们再一次
want
看完了对阵之
to
后，
win it all.
那么我们相
What
信
better way
接
to
下
do
来的
so
比赛
than
肯
the
定会
first
非常的
quarterfinal
给力
match。
英
against
雄
the reigning
制出传奇，
Yeah,
所
I
有
mean,
召唤师们，
challenger to
让我们广州
quarterfinals.
再
How
见。
about challenger to semifinals, taking down the world champions?
Well, that brings a close to the knockout stage draw, which means that we get some time to talk about 4 very intriguing matchups. So, what's the first one you guys want to jump at?
Samsung Longzhu. That's really the one that seems like there is a smaller disparity between the two teams. So that's the one that I want to see. Even though I think you can almost always expect Longzhu to come out ahead on this one, I think that's the one where you'll have the closest game out of all of them.
There's also a huge stylistic mismatch there. You have Longzhu, who are just the sprinters coming out of the finish line. They've got the crazy, wacky picks. And then you have Samsung Galaxy, very slow, patient, methodical, as well as the cool clash between Cuvée and Khan.
And I'm really excited to see it because it has been that stylistic difference and because of the adaptations and the changes we've seen in the Week 2 meta. You know, the Caitlyn coming in and some of these different picks that have been coming out and really kind of shaking things up because Longzhu, we know their style. They stayed true to that style in the LCK. They stayed true to that style in the group stage. And I think that Samsung will have to make some adaptations, but there's been kind of a sampling of choices that have been presented by some of these teams in Week 2, and they can maybe try to find out what best fits their style.
All right, well, that, of course, is only one of the 4 matchups. We have, of course, C9 drawn against WE. At first glance, your gut check was perhaps the most preferable draw for C9?
I actually kind of think that this is almost like mini Longzhu versus mini Samsung in a sense. We talked about stylistic mismatch. Contracts is hitting hard, he's hitting fast, so he's hitting early. And Team WE, while they showed a little bit of diversity, you know, starting their games a bit earlier using that Caitlyn pick, they have been a very slow and steady, the Elder Dragon team.
I do agree with Azael's sentiment completely. If you're Cloud9, this is probably the best team out of the 4 you could have gotten out of the ones that all look the strongest. So if you're an NA, this is the one that you can actually look forward to potentially having a shot, although I wouldn't be too excited about it. You do have some similarities in the champion, or rather the players that have been stepping up to the plate in order to put up a fight.
It's also our 2 play-in representatives, making it all the way through to clash in quarterfinals.
Yeah, the 3rd seeds from both of their regions. Fnatic up against Royal Never Give Up. I also want to talk about the Misfits SK Telecom matchup because, again, we talk about the weaknesses exposed for SKT being the early game. What were the things that Misfits liked to attack and showed us in Week 2 with some definite early game focus?
Their coaching, I think, has been really intelligent as well, and all the risks that they're willing to take. Like, this is not a team to shy away from a risky strategy, so we could see kind of like a more refined Gigabyte Marine style play coming out. You know, we had the Yasuo counter back top, we had the Blitzcrank, we've had some of these different styles, and I think that they're not afraid to go right at a team and try something.
Well, it's not just the early game, though. The preparation here, you look at SKT, they have been quite predictable with what they're doing with this roster. You have Huni, you know what he's going to bring to the table, and clearly SKT has been favoring a certain style. I don't think that you can expect the whole Fizz Jace composition once again, and so if they stick back to a safety net of the late game and you go with a split pushing top, then it does open up the Misfits preparation and the coaching team to cook up something that could potentially give SKT a run for their money.
I think the alternating junglers could be very interesting in that matchup as well, just because we look at Max Lore as one of the linchpins to Misfits' success, right? If he's firing on all cylinders, he's definitely one of the big leaders for the team. But will Blank or Peanut be able to download him and figure him out?
And I think that's really hard to do because Maxler has been adapting from game to game. It's not just this idea of like growth, it's the fact that he's also downloading people as it happens and then adjusting his pathing and opening up these opportunities for Misfits to find their success.
Just a little bit of a highlight of the matches to come, but now let's highlight some of the players that we believe stood out in the final week of the group stage. Here are our Best of the Rift, brought to you by T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. We've got EDG's iBoy, Longzhu's Prey, RNG's Uzi, and Misfits Gaming's Maxlor. First up, it's EDG's AD carry, iBoy, who stepped up for the team as they almost managed to come back from going 0-3 in the first week.
The miracle run that could have been. That said, EDG go home, but iBoy can hold his head high. He is known as Baby Uzi domestically. He took down Uzi, said, no, please just call me iBoy, and he showed everyone why he's the I-Man. This guy is absurd.
It's a Mr. iBoy to you.
Flashes forward, hyper-aggressive, great at orb walking and dodging these skill shots in and out of team fights.
And this is a guy that you know is going to be back. He looks so good this year.
It definitely dealt with the pressure of the team building around him and winning through him in a lot of these games for a rookie. That's awesome to see. The LCK champions, Longzhu, went undefeated in the group stage after some solid performances by their AD carry, Prey.
Yeah, I mean, Prey, if it wasn't for Faker's incredible playoff performance, he probably would have made the top of the #1 player to watch at this World Championship. You cannot argue that this guy is the best remaining AD carry here. He has been putting some ridiculous numbers. And this team fight you see, I believe this was a game he had 1,500 damage per minute. He and Gorilla, longtime duo, are just the backbone of Longzhu Gaming.
You said best remaining AD carry here. I'm going to go one step further. I think he was the best AD carry at the tournament.
Strong words.
If iBoy played like he did today every time,
Prey has been a god.
Right, there might be a case, but Prey,
Exactly.
that picture of consistency at such a high level. Now RNG managed to secure the first seed, and their AD carry Uzi now has his eyes on finally winning a world championship. He's still looking for that first world title, but a dominant group stage and first seed into the quarterfinal puts him in prime position to move forward and snag it. If the meta continues to evolve around the bot lane, I'll be very excited to see what he is able to accomplish in the bot lane.
It's not just him, it's also his partner in crime next to him in Ming, but you are correct. Uzi is just entitled to miracles sometimes, because he's Uzi.
I love it. I love it. I wish I was just entitled to miracles.
Me?
All right, finally we have Misfits Gaming's jungler Maxlor, who came into the roster ahead of the summer split. Now he's ready for the quarterfinals at Worlds, looking to take the team to new heights.
And I'm one of the people that really was counting Misfits out in this group, but they played so incredibly well, and Maxlor stood out so much to me, not only as a playmaker, but as someone who's willing to adapt, who's not repetitive, who's doing different pathing in the early game, really attacking the opposing team's weaknesses. As I think he really exploited a lot of problems against TSM, being able to completely shift the game, taking down Hansor and Jace time and time again, and he was able to do that against multiple teams.
Yeah, my favorite thing about him is the mentality that he's been sharing with us in the interview so far, that you have to have the winning mentality, that you have to believe that you're going all the way, but not to be cocky about it. You have to be realistic and understand what you have to do to get there all the way, because we've had League for many years, and many people have been having struggles with figuring out how you think about the game properly, and I think that the Misfits actually have the right mindset for it.
Absolutely a winner's mindset. We'll see which players will step up next week as we kick off the quarterfinals in Guangzhou. From first CS till the final team fight, you can follow the best of the Rift in more places than ever before. T-Mobile, America's best unlimited network. Now, as we round out the group stage here in Wuhan, let's check out some of your big plays from the final week, brought to you by Acer Predator. First up, EDG's iBoy came up big as Twitch in their game versus AHQ. At Fofsachi, I hope I said that correctly, was surprised, saying, wait, iBoy is actually insane at League of Legends.
Well, look at the mini-map, because Mountain's coming in from behind. Glacial Prison misses! You cannot miss that shot, Mountain! That's a double kill for iBoy! And Captain surprised! Will they take it down? Here comes Clear-Up, the flag, drag, triple kill! iBoy, you are amazing!
可以来一下中，看一下打一波，去上跑，看到，这边有，这边保家，可以打，可以，我防右盾。杀鸡堡，我下，我不拦。来，兄弟。
And you know, I'm finally ready to call it. When iBoy first came in midway through the split, I was like, Ardent Sensor meta, he's got Janna and Lulu. It's super easy to look amazing. Nah, he's actually just great.
Well, Mountain did help him out there with that whipped ultimate. That was something.
I would not have the first clue how to start navigating that fight as an AD carry when you've got a Sejuani behind you and damage dealers running at you. Yeah, exactly. Take your hands off the keyboard. Earlier this week, Fnatic started their comeback with a dramatic win against Immortals. At Joe Paget wrote, "Oh my God, Fnatic died for the Nexus. What a finish."
Caps a bit low. Do they have the damage controls? Must go big. Shockwave. Ken is reckless. Now on to the Nexus they're going. Do they have the damage output? The hits are coming in. Is it going to be the game? Fnatic. Look to knock him down. Will they get Zoe? He's trying. It's the game.
Hit Nexus. Everyone hit Nexus. Everyone hit Nexus. Hit Nexus. Hit Nexus. Hit the Nexus. Polymorph. Hit the Nexus. Oh.
You can hear the excitement. That was actually the beginning of the miracle comeback. No team had ever gotten out of groups starting 0-3. Fnatic started 0-4 and got out of groups, and that was their first win on their road of 3 more coming
I just can't believe how calm those comms were. It's just like, Nexus.
Nexus?
Nexus hit the Nexus.
Everybody?
Nexus?
Are we hitting the Nexus? Yeah. And then a Janna auto of all things at the very last moment secures it. Longzhu's Prey somehow managed to escape in a crucial team fight against the Gigabyte Marines. At Motosoto tweeted, "Prey is so on another level right now. This guy is amazing beyond words."
Still letting the damage. Ripto doing quite a lot, but Saya does go down. Gorilla is going to fall. A stun landed on the Prey, but he did take out the Zillion Optimus. Prey! Make it happen. Prey, though, finds the pick.
Keep your eyes on Prey in the fight. He's consistently dealing damage along with Noe. They're both trying to get through, and then Prey makes the decision to flash over. He then takes out Optimus, walks away. I mean, spoke earlier, but still taking out one of the big carries was so significant.
That is why Prey is the best.
Yeah, I mean, again, the guts to make a play like that on the world stage. You only do that if you're confident.
And it's the consistency, right? 6-0. It's hard to really point out a single time where you're thinking, Prey's playing pretty poorly, right? They're unassailable. They're such a good bot lane duo.
Now, finally, one of the newcomers here at Worlds is Team WECA unleashed the calling in a 1v1 against Power of Evil. Eki Lopez said, "CA is one guy from groups that has stood out for me, doesn't lose lane, and makes big plays."
957 mistiming the knockup on Power of Evil, and GA looking for the 1v1. Can he outplay the ultimate?
Trying to solo it out. He can, but the miasmas go from Power of Evil. Step, the final shot of culling.
要装逼小心点。但没中呀，没中呀。可以。哇！
What's up?
Should have counted them. I don't know how many culling bullets there were there, but
he hit every single
one. I just am very curious to know what the actual number is. Now, as the dust settles on the group stage here in Wuhan, let's look forward to what's coming up next week. We've got our first quarterfinal between Longzhu and Samsung Galaxy next Thursday, starting at 4 p.m. local time. That is 1 a.m. Pacific time and 10 a.m. Central European Summer Time. There's 4 big matchups coming your way, so be sure to tune in. Remember to join Jat, DeFicio, and Papa Smithy for a special edition of Worlds Tonight as they revisit their World's Top 20 list post-group stage. Now for myself, the casters, and the entire live broadcast crew, thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week for more Worlds 2017. Good night.
Historically speaking, NA has always done well week 1, but not so well week 2. Good thing for us in Cloud9 is we're heading into week 3 because we played in the play-ins, so we have nothing to worry about.